I chose to be a mining engineer because I knew that I wanted to do something in engineering. I didn't want to be stuck behind the desk all day. And mining engineering has a lot of field work, and the opportunities are really good. And to be honest with you, I really didn't know what else to do. So that's kind of just the path I chose, and that's where I stuck with, and that's where I'm at today. So.
The best aspect about being a mining engineer.
Best aspect about being an engineer. I guess that kind of falls in hand with the first one. It's just the fact that you get to do so much hands-on work all the time. There's so much room for opportunity and change. It's a very diverse field too. So even if you find that you go into a spot that you don't like, it's not hard to, even within a company, to switch gears and find a different spot in that company, or a different route, a different aspect about mining that you may like more, whether it be like production or processing or even reclamation. Those are three completely different things that have so much diversity in them. So it's not hard to switch gears and find something that you do like. So.
What part of being a job do you personally find most satisfying?
That's a tough one. Hardest job. Oh, I really like. I tell you what, I really like how connected that it seems like mining is with the community. It seems like just about anywhere you go, there's always some way that mining, not just mining engineers, but the mining industry is trying to give back and trying to cooperate with people, regardless of the negative things that people say, especially about coal. Most of those people out there are, they live in that land too, and they're always looking. They don't, they're not trying to destroy everything. They're always trying to look to give back. Educate young people, educate old people, and just help out the best way they can. So.
All right, most challenging.
So far, it's just some of the classes, really. Going out in industry and working, I haven't. Yeah, you hit some challenges, but it's not that you can't overcome, and it's always a learning experience. But definitely, learning and finding your strengths and weaknesses within some of these hard classes, and really just finding the discipline that you didn't know you had in some aspects. So it's some of these classes are a real challenge for you, but you'll find who you are. So.
Do you have any advice for someone who is looking at obtaining an internship over the summer?
Yeah, like I said before, interview with everyone no matter what. Even if you don't want to work for them, you never know. You may not get anything else, and you end up with a company that you originally didn't want to work for, but then next thing you know, turns out it was a little bit different than you thought, and you enjoy it. Also, one of the things that I would highly recommend is branching out and getting out of just the bubble of the mining department. A lot of people just come here and they interview here, and then they don't get anything, and they're like, oh, well, that's it, that's all there is. There's so many companies that don't come specifically to UK and that are more than willing to have internships and talk to people. So branch out and do your own searching and find companies and say, hey, they have contacts, they have human resources people, contact them, say, hey, I'm looking for an internship. I'm a mining student in the UK. I know you guys don't come here, but let me send you a resume. Let's talk about some things, and you never know what you can find that way. So. Okay.
All right. How important is your GPA in college to get an internship?
It is very important, but at the same time, it's not everything. Lots of kids focus so much on the GPA, and they're all about the GPA. If you go into an interview with a resume with some big, bold 4.0 GPA and you have nothing else on your resume, then you're not going to get selected. I know multiple times I've gone in, I did not get up to a great start, first off, in freshman year, and it's an uphill battle ever since then. So my GPA right now is riding a 3.0, and I've fought tooth and nail to pull it up to there because it was down in the mid-2s. But I've gone into interviews with 2.7s, 2.8s on my resume, but with experiences and leadership things. I was in the Boy Scouts growing up, so that's on there. I'm in the military, which is on there. I have had the fortunate of being able to have an interview or a internship before, so that's on there. I've got experiences, I've got leadership, I've volunteered for things, I'm active in my clubs at school. All that on there is showing them that even though he may not have gotten off the best start, or let's say you got a 3.0 or something, 3.5, you may not be the top of the class, this kid's got personal ability, he's got teamwork skills, he's got leadership skills, he's not just going to be a stick in the mud, he's going to be able to work well with others, and they're looking for stuff like that as well as is he, capable of fulfilling the book smart side of things. So it's not all about GPA. That's a pretty big part. So
All right, what is the best time to get an internship?
anytime. I mean, start early. Don't wait to the last minute by any means. Obviously, lots of companies like to, by the end of next semester, they'll be full. Most of them are now are picking what they want, trying to get the kids before they commit somewhere else, trying to get the cream of the crop, I guess you could say. But now, don't wait around. So, but anytime is fine.
All right, what made you want to get internship?
Well, not only it's the best way, hands-on, in my opinion, is the best way to learn something, but if you want a full-time job in this industry, you've got to have experience, and that experience comes through internships. I've actually seen people before. One kid that I know of did very smart, book smart. I probably had someone closer to 4.0, didn't do any internships, and I saw him struggle more than anybody else to get a full-time job because he didn't have any experience. I mean, you go in here and they can only teach you so much in a book. You go out in the industry and work and move around with the guys and see the equipment working and see how things are done, underground, surface, wherever you go. It's a completely different world. Lots of things you learn in class apply to it, but there's nothing like seeing it firsthand and having that experience on your belt, and industry people love that. So you definitely want to do that.
So what companies have you interned for?
I've interned for 2 companies. Jim Walter Resources down in Brookwood, Alabama. They do underground coal. And I interned. I interned for 2 summers with them. And then I knew I wanted to kind of get out of coal. And so I switched routes and really pushed hard for aggregates and hard metals. Ended up getting an offer from Hanson Aggregates. And I worked for them last summer doing limestone.
So which one was your favorite?
Oh, man, I'll be honest with you. Probably Hanson, and it's not because of it's limestone over coal, one way or the other. It was a non-union mine, and I enjoyed that a lot more. It means that I don't know if you know how all the unions work and everything, but as an intern, it's extremely hard to actually get a lot of hands-on experience. Basically, you're just an observer because the union restricts you from how much work you can do. Where at Hanson, they weren't, and I was literally like they were actually short a guy, their crew, and I just filled right in. They had another guy get hurt halfway through the summer, so we were short a guy again. So I was filling in all over the place, which was great. Hands-on experience. I'm bouncing around. They're using the crap out of me. That's what I want. Earning your money, and you're learning the whole time. So that one probably overall was a better experience. So that would have to be my favorite. Obviously, the only other one is Jim Walter, and it wasn't that it was a bad experience by any means. I still learned a lot. I observed a lot. The second summer I was there, I got to work with the engineering crew. I had a couple of my own projects, which was a great learning experience. And I wouldn't say it was the least favorite, but it was of the 2. Yeah. The aggregates one was probably a better experience overall.
So what types of jobs did you have while on your internship?
Oh man, working with the crew. Let's see. And coal is a little different because in aggregates, I don't know coal, you actually go on machines and cut the coal out. And you throw on the conveyor belt and you run it out and all that stuff. Where aggregates, you go and blow it up, and they have a loader load it to a truck, and the truck drives it out and dumps it in the crusher. So, but the types of jobs I did everything. I was in, for example, in the aggregates when I was a truck driver. I worked with the drill crew. I worked with the maintenance guys. I didn't get to work with the blasting guys as much as I want to, but I worked with the guys who ran the plant. You name it, for the most part, I got to do it. When I was underground coal, I did get to work with a bunch of crews. Like I said, I didn't get to actually do work as much, but I was up on section with the continuous miner. I was working on the long wall with some of the guys. Like I said, I worked with the engineering crew. So it definitely got around everywhere and got my feet wet in just about every aspect of each operation. So,
which one did you not enjoy that much?
Well, the one I enjoyed least was probably I had one project with the engineer guys that was all computer work, and it was with a program. It was Microsoft Access, and it was all kind of computer programming stuff. And it's not that I don't like the program. I just never used it before, and they threw this whole program on me just and said, "See what you can do." So that was not only a challenge, but it was just really uninteresting to me. I didn't enjoy it very much. But
Most.
what I most liked was really anything where I was actually working. Working underground and seeing all the machinery, how everything works together to get, meet a common goal. And it's, you go underground, regardless of if it's coal or aggregates or anything like that. It's just kind of a completely different world, and it's extremely interesting to me. And just watching everything, work, all the machinery and stuff. That's always a good time.
So what was your typical work schedule like over the summer?
I've been fortunate to not have to hit any crazy shifts in any of my internships. A lot of guys I know work nights and stuff like that, but for me, typically, like this summer was we worked 7 to 5 for a while, and then they started to cut back a little bit of hours just because we didn't need as much rock. So we went to 7 to 3, and then 7 to 3 down in Alabama too was pretty much every day. But yeah, it ends up being like 7 to 5 by the time you get out of the mine. So that was typical, just working day shift.
So what type of skills did you learn at the internship?
It's really just learning the operations. I mean, specific skills like welding or anything like that. For example, is not necessarily there's some of those things you will pick up along the way doing different activities, but mostly it's just learning the operations, just how things run, how what you're learning in class applies to what you're doing in the real world, and you can see it as you spend time just working and spend time with guys who've been there for a while and talking to them and ask them about how everything happens. You'll pick up on things, be like, oh, I learned that in class, or what is that? And they'll tell you about it and be like, oh, okay, we touched on something that might have something to do with this type of crusher, or how something works, or why you're doing what you're doing, so that's in my opinion pretty much the main. I guess I don't know if that's necessarily a skill, but I mean, skill wise, I learned to drive a 50-ton haul truck, and learned to use a roof bolter, can drive a continuous miner, stuff like that. So
are internships worth going after?
absolutely, definitely for the experience. The money's nice too. But the experience you're going to get there and how it's going to help you later on in your industry is just priceless. So,
what is the best tip you have received about becoming an engineer?
The best tip I've received about becoming an engineer,
or a mine engineer.
Yeah, I don't know if this is what you're after, but what is the best tip you've received about becoming an engineer? When you first get into the industry, and this is something you'll pick up on, and I've also had people tell me, and it's something that I try to live by when I have new experiences, especially in engineering fields, is just because that you're an engineer and you have this background, this education, doesn't mean that you know everything. So the biggest tip that I received is don't go into it with the wrong attitude. Go into it with the attitude, and I've seen this. I've seen guys come into internships or work positions with this attitude, and just completely screw themselves over with the crew or with the guys or whatever. And I've seen people come in with the right attitude and learn, and they mingle, and they fit right in. And these guys are more than willing to help you as long as you're not going to be some stuck up prick trying to tell them how to do their job. Like, oh, we did it this way in class, this is how it should be done. Like, realize that even though they may not have the education you have, they've been doing this for 25, 30 years.
They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. Right. They've trial and error. Now, don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean to come in and say, hey, look, I see you guys are doing it this way. We learned something else in class. Why don't we give it a shot? Let's see how we can combine your idea with my idea and maybe make it better. And, most guys are not going to be negative to you. With as long as you're coming into things with the right attitude, say, hey, yes, I have an education, yes, I'm an engineer, but I don't know everything about this operation. Each operation is very specific, I don't know everything about this operation. I'm here to learn. Let's learn some things. Let's combine ideas. Let's work for a common goal. As long as you're coming in with the right attitude, that's definitely the best tip. So.
And do you have any advice for someone interested in this field?
Give it a shot. Give it a shot. See, it's different strokes for different folks, but see if you like it. If you're interested in, my advice is to definitely stop by and talk to people who are in the industry, people who are studying the industry, and people who may have tried it and given up, just to get some different opinions about it. But You know, if you're a work oriented person,